this is what I think about Crown Royal. That's what they could do.
Doug Ford spares no words during a fiery rant against Crown Royal for, quote, hurting his people. Plus, multiple charges are waiting, including attempted murder, after 4 people are hospitalized following a West End fire. And back to school jitters.
I feel very excited. I'm a little bit nervous.
And for some, uncertainty on their daily commute.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on television or listening to us on AM 800. A striking show of solidarity today for more than 200 Diageo workers facing job loss. Premier Doug Ford poured out a full bottle of Crown Royal on live television. Meanwhile, workers and their union met to address the looming closure of the Amherstburg's largest employer. With more, I'm joined by CTV's Sanjay Maru tonight outside of the plant. Sanjay.
Stefanie, the premier for this province, making quite a bold gesture today aimed at sending a message to Crown Royal and the workers who make it. It's a sign of support for the 160 full-time employees plus dozens of students and seasonal staff who work here at Diageo, who learned just last week that their jobs here at Amherstburg's largest employer will be gone within the next 6 months.
So this is what I think about Crown Royal. That's what they could do.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford pouring out a bottle of Crown Royal, urging Ontarians to back whiskey made by workers in this province. This after more than 200 unionized employees learned last week that Diageo will close its Amherstburg facility by February 2026. Tuesday morning, a meeting hosted by Unifor Local 200 for Diageo workers, and for some, the announced closure of Amherstburg's largest employer means the life they've started to build here may already be slipping away.
We literally just moved to Amherstburg. I'm in a 1-year lease that I just signed. I'm more so concerned about my kids because I just dropped them off at their new school in Amherstburg today. I don't want to have to put them through that change again if I have to move again.
Union leaders are now weighing how to fight back, even reaching out to the Ford government to get Crown Royal pulled from LCBO shelves in Ontario. The president of Unifor Local 200 acknowledges the impact that could have on Diageo's other Canadian plants in Valleyfield, Quebec and Gimli, Manitoba, but he says a boycott is about solidarity and stopping closures at any Canadian facility.
Because it could be you next, and that's what worries me most. If that's okay in Amherstburg, why isn't it not okay in Gimli? Why isn't it not okay in Quebec?
For longtime employees like this 34-year Diageo worker, the company's decision to close the Amherstburg plant have pushed them into retirement before they were ready.
It's a terrible thing for companies to not care about the people and only care about profits. That's what this place is doing, because that plant is very, very profitable, but they want more.
And in response to a follow-up email we sent to Diageo this afternoon surrounding the union's desire to keep this plant alive and maintain these jobs, a company spokesperson says while they acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of their workforce and understand the impact this closure will have on every single person who works here, their decision to close down Amherstburg's largest employer, quote, is final. Stefanie.
Okay, a final decision there. Sanjay, thank you for this. So this takes us to our question of the day. Do you think Crown Royal Whiskey should be pulled from LCBO shelves after Diageo announced it is closing its Amherstburg plant? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. On Friday, we asked if you have ever helped look for a lost pet. Just shy of 800 votes were cast. 61% say yes, they have. In other news, a 35-year-old man remains in medical care and under police custody after he and 3 others were injured in a house fire on Monday. Police say the suspect is facing 3 charges of attempted murder and a charge of arson with disregard for human life. The fire broke out just before 8:30 Sunday morning in the 3600 block of Bloomfield Road near Prince Road. All 4 people inside were taken to hospital with serious injuries, according to police. One person was airlifted to Hamilton Hospital for treatment. Another was also transported to a Hamilton hospital. Damages are estimated at $50,000. About 3,400 Hydro One customers were without power today after a crash took down 2 hydro poles. LaSalle police say the collision happened on County Road 8 or North Town Line Road between Broderick and Disputed. There were no injuries from the crash. Power was fully restored around 2 this afternoon. Now, the first day of school is always filled with excitement, but today it came with some uncertainty. That's because Transit Windsor eliminated its school bus extras earlier this year, a move aimed at reducing overcrowding and improving service overall. So how did the morning commute go? We sent our Bob Belichico out to find out. So, Bob, what did you find?
Well, Stephanie, there was a lot of excitement for the first day of school, obviously, and as expected, there was a lot of traffic around Holy Names. But believe it or not, we only ran into one student who was late because of the Transit Windsor realignment.
I expected that there were going to be some folks that weren't going to arrive on time.
It happened, but not as much as some thought it might. Of 5 city buses to arrive at Holy Names High School shortly before and after the morning bell, David Kubay was the lone rider to be late.
I had to wait for the bus in the morning for like 20 minutes, and then I had to do another stop, which made me late for school for another 10 minutes.
Karen McKenzie, chair of the Transit Windsor Board, visited the area near the high school to see how things would unfold since the school bus extra program was eliminated earlier this year. He took note of the late arrival, but overall was pleasantly surprised by the transition.
There hasn't been the backlogs or a huge number of students arriving late for school, which I think is a very, very good sign.
McKenzie believes families have adjusted to their new schedules, but understands what people like Naohem Sufan might be going through.
When he bused last year, it was way easier for me.
So where would the bus pick him up?
Right there at the Kenilworth and South Cameron.
Now, Sufan's eldest and others like him either have to catch a ride with a parent before work or walk about 10 minutes to a bus stop.
They have to somehow figure it out. It's a lot of work on us. It's a lot of stress on us, too.
Look at the feedback and figure out if there's some quote-unquote tweaks that we could potentially look at making or improvements.
The Catholic Board has asked principals at Holy Names and St. Joe's to monitor the amount of lates in the morning caused by the change in service and the amount of traffic around those schools.
Hope that over the next week or so that people are going to adjust accordingly to the changes and plan their routes to school in the morning in such a way that they can avoid a lot of the congestion that we're seeing at some of those schools.
Now, the school boards and Transit Windsor say they will continue to monitor the situation. They'll also continue to have open discussions with all their stakeholders, including students, to ensure that the changes are not causing undue hardships. Stephanie?
Good to know. Okay, Bob Belichico, thank you for this. And now that kids are back in school, police are reminding drivers about the fines and penalties they could face for breaking the rules in school zones. We do have an article online to help refresh your knowledge. It also outlines the fees associated with the offenses. Again, you can find that at ctvnewswindsor.ca. The sounds of lockers slamming and hallways buzzing are a little louder at Assumption High School this year. Enrollment is up, and the Catholic Board brought in 6 new portables. That's on top of 2 portables brought in last year. The school has grown by about 200 students since last year alone, pushing enrollment to roughly 1,000 students. Principal Kevin Belair says a big reason for the spike is the school's IB program and a strong incoming grade 9 class.
There's been some intrigue and some definite buzz around our IB program. And then we've had just an influx of registration for grade 9 from all different schools in the West End of Windsor.
And the new school year isn't just for elementary and high school students. At the University of Windsor and St. Clair College, hundreds of students moved into their new homes this weekend just ahead of the fall semester.
I feel very excited. I'm a little bit nervous. It's my first time moving away from home, but very, very excited. I think it's gonna give me a lot of growth. I think I'll definitely learn a little bit more independence, stuff like that.
Dad, how you feeling?
Don't ask me. When the first time she said, I've been accepted from Windsor, I said, no, I don't want that, you know.
So we have close to 1,000 students moving in. We also have a brand new building opening, Rodzik Hall, which we're super excited. All of the students are going to be the first ones to live in that space. There's a lot of excited energy happening, and just students are looking forward to the school year. They're excited to move into their own space, make it their own. It's a big change for people coming and living on campus for the first time. So we really want to make sure that they feel at home here.
I want to teach elementary. I feel like I did a lot of the life lessons that I learned when I was a kid was when I was in elementary, and a lot of the teachers that changed my life were my elementary school teachers, which is why I want to be a teacher.
CTV meteorologist Julie Atchison joins us now for a first look at the weather and all we need to know about back to school. Julie.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. We did have a few pop-up showers late this afternoon, but most of that activity has quickly dissipated. We had some light rainfall and a little thunderstorm moving through the Bell River area. It actually put the brakes on our temperature. Our high today hit 26 degrees, and the temperatures at the airport dropping off with a little shower. Not everyone picked up rainfall, though, so of course, if you're sitting at home thinking, wow, it's beautiful outside, yes, that is the case. Skies will go back to clear over the next hour, and we'll have a bit of fog develop overnight. Temperatures will stay on the mild side. A great night for an evening walk. Coming up, I'll take you through the forecast. Some fog developing through the overnight and early tomorrow morning, but a nice warm start to the day and hot conditions tomorrow afternoon. A cold front on the move. We'll take a look at that coming up in just a few minutes.
To the tariff situation and what it means for Canada now that a U.S. federal appeals court has thrown much of Donald Trump's tariff strategy into uncertainty. CTV's Rachel Aiello on where things stand now that September is here.
The start of September marked the end of Canada's counter tariffs on U.S. goods covered under CUSMA. But today, Donald Trump showed no signs of reciprocating. The U.S. president is preparing to defend his global tariff regime before the Supreme Court.
Because without the tariffs, this country is in serious, serious trouble.
Trump standing by his trade tactics comes as one cabinet minister asserted today that despite dropping retaliatory tariffs, Prime Minister Mark Carney hasn't put his elbows down.
There's no capitulation. Let's be clear. Zero. Never, never. That's not happening. We're trying to match exactly what the Americans have done.
And trade talks are ongoing.
It's a complicated negotiation.
That negotiation will be a central focus as Carney convenes his cabinet in the GTA. Starting tomorrow, the Prime Minister and his front bench will be planning fall priorities. From preparing for the CUSMA review and supporting tariff-impacted sectors to fast-tracking big projects. To that end, today, Internal Trade Minister Chrystia Freeland hosted a Made in Canada summit at a Hamilton steel plant to try and generate domestic investment in major transportation projects. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
The city of Windsor is taking action against a noxious weed that can cause painful skin reactions. CTV's Chris Campbell joins us with more on the work being done along the Granatro Trail.
Wild parsnip looks harmless, but its sap can cause severe burns and blisters when it comes in contact with skin.
It has umbrella-shaped yellow flowers in the late summer. It's very recognizable once you have identified it once.
It's the cause of herbicide efforts along the Ganacho Trail in the Little River Corridor.
If you contact wild parsnip sap on your skin and then expose that area of your skin to sunlight, it can create really painful blisters and burns. And we don't want that.
The city plans to spray a product called Navius Flex to target the invasive weed between now and September 12th, weather permitting.
We were lucky enough to receive an invasive species control grant from the Invasive Species Center up in Sault Ste. Marie. And with that pile of money, we were able to bring in a hired professional to treat the entire Ganacho Trail system and attempt to get rid of this invasive plant from our our trail system.
So this one here, you kind of always know when you see one of these that there'll be new ones around it.
I appreciate the effort because this forest is really well used.
The weed has been causing concern across Canada, prompting warnings and control measures not only in Ontario, but also in British Columbia, Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia this year.
The other side of the forest is quite thick with vegetation, and they're keeping control of the noxious weeds by doing this kind of work, so it's really awesome.
What happens with many invasive plants, especially this one, it likes disturbance, follows roadsides, follows anywhere people move soil, disrupt the natural system is when these species get a foothold. And once they're in, they can rapidly outcompete our native systems, and then they become a problem.
Signs are posted along the corridor, and trail users are asked to be cautious while work is underway.
If you do find yourself exposed to wild parsnip, wash the area really well. Soap, water, and then avoid sunlight.
In Windsor, Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Go that way! Everybody's like, oh my God, there's a kid up there. There's a kid up there.
Tense situation still ahead on Windsor's news leader. We hear from the man who helped to get this little boy down from a monorail track. Power problem. Later, strong mayor powers were supposed to speed up housing, but are they actually slowing things down? A new report is raising questions. And from groceries to gas, people are tapping their phones instead of swiping cards to pay. But what happens if that phone goes missing or falls into the wrong hands? That's tomorrow at 6 on CTV News. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. Now to a man who's being called the hero. He rescued a little boy spotted walking along a monorail high above a theme park in Pennsylvania.
The man being called the Hershey Park hero is describing how he rescued this lost little boy on the park's monorail.
Go that way! Everybody's like, oh my God, there's a kid up there. There's a kid up there.
Officials at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania say the boy managed to enter a section of the monorail through a secure area that was chained and barricaded. The monorail was not running at the time. Horrified bystanders looking on. Stop! That's when John Sampson ran to the roof of a concession stand, hoping it could get him close to the monorail.
This kid is walking on the monorail, and obviously panic kind of sits in a little bit. When you have that kind of dad instinct, it doesn't matter if it's your kid or not, it's a child. You want to make sure they're safe as possible.
John, a father of 3 on vacation at the park, jumping onto the track despite his fear of heights.
It didn't bother me up there because it was just concentrating on one thing, and I didn't hesitate on any of it.
In just a few seconds, the frightened boy was in his arms, the crowd cheering him on.
When I finally got him in my arms, honestly, there was no words. I was just mumbling, I'm so happy, I got you, you're okay. And then it was okay, now how do I get down from here? And luckily, another gentleman was waiting there for me, and he helped me out.
The boy's parents, grateful.
They contacted me, and then we had a nice conversation. Obviously, super, super happy to hear that he's back with his parents. And then I got a nice thank you as well from the son, so that was nice.
Tributes are pouring in for celebrated Canadian First Nations actor Graham Greene, who died at the age of 73.
Go, Buffalo, Tatanka, Buffalo. Well.
He is best known for his Oscar-nominated breakthrough role as Kicking Bird in Kevin Costner's 1990s film Dancing with Wolves. Greene also starred in a number of other high-profile feature films, such as The Green Mile, Maverick, and Die Hard with a Vengeance, to name just a few. His manager has confirmed he died in Stratford after a long illness. The Assembly of First Nations will be gathering in Winnipeg this week for their annual General Assembly, but some chiefs say this could be the most important meeting ever. CTV's Alex Karpa explains.
Indigenous leaders from coast to coast are set to meet in Winnipeg this week, with the topic of major national projects expected to dominate discussions.
Conversations are not always easy, but they're necessary. And, I think on on the Building Canada Act. There's lots of unknowns.
National Chief Cindy Woodhouse, Nepenak, said politicians will be paying close attention to resolutions chiefs passed regarding Ottawa's major projects legislation, Bill C-5, which has seen strong opposition from some First Nations leaders.
There is First Nations out there that are, it's up to them to say yes or no to a particular project, and we don't know what those are yet.
Bill C-5, which was passed in June, allows projects like pipelines and shipping ports to be fast-tracked without much consultation.
Major project discussions must include us, because these decisions affect our people's inherent right and treaty rights.
Manitoba Grand Chief Garrison Sept says it's not only important for First Nations voices to be heard, but to be part of the decision process regarding future projects on Indigenous territory.
Our leaders will no longer accept any arbitrary or unilateral decisions made by governments without free, prior, and more informed consent.
There are other important topics set to be discussed over the next week, including healthcare, policing, child welfare, and housing.
Rapidly increasing homelessness within the streets of Winnipeg, largest urban Indigenous population in Canada. The socioeconomic disparities within this region are quite significant.
It is important to note that some federal ministers will be in attendance for the meeting, including Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Rebecca Alty. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew is also slated to be part of the gathering. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Strong mayor powers rolled out to hundreds of cities across Ontario and were meant to fast-track housing construction. But a new report says since they were implemented, housing growth has been slow. Now there are calls to roll those powers back. CTV's John Woodward reports.
Building housing among the main goals when Ontario's premier rolled out sweeping changes to city halls across the province, giving mayors extra sway to sidestep city council and hire and fire top city staff. But a new report is questioning whether that's working out.
It's stress built upon stress built upon stress.
Sabine Matheson with Strategy Corp surveyed 32 chief administrative officers in Ontario cities and found deep concerns about the new powers.
We're not getting a lot of the upside, but we're getting the potential risk for the downside, particularly after the next round of municipal elections.
Anonymous CAOs say in the report that being beholden to one mayor forces the CAO to play this political game. Another said the administration is no longer separate from the politics and the relationship is fundamentally changing. A relationship another said could be over when the political wind shifts, saying, "I've just decided I'm going to be fired at some point." Mayors have used those powers to fast-track housing in places like Caledon and Hamilton. But data shows that many more times those powers have been used for something else. One decision in Aurora this spring about a shelter outraged sidelined councillors.
It's an affront to our democracy.
According to provincial data that tracks 50 largest municipalities, 15 of them have exceeded their targets for 2024. 8 are on track and 27 have not met their targets.
The big struggle that's in the way of getting housing built right now has got more to do with the economic fundamentals than it has to do with any quirks of decision-making inside city halls.
If the premier's intent was truly about building homes and about building infrastructure faster, he would see the results and see that it hasn't actually delivered. He would put the strong mayor powers on hold and evaluate why that might be.
A housing ministry spokesperson said in a statement it is the responsibility of the mayor, council and municipality to implement the strong mayor framework in line with legislation and regulations, saying it's up to the mayors to get their house and their city's housing in order. John Woodward, CTV News.
Unions representing engineers and special constables are extending contract talks rather than taking to the picket line.
They pointed out to us that the only one that may change the direction of the board is a new president. And we recognize that. We recognize that. It makes sense to us that we at least give him an opportunity to come in.
Unifor Local 444 and Local 2458 says wages and contract language remain the sticking points at the table. Bargaining teams are set to meet with incoming university president J.J. McMurdy on Friday. Contracts for both unions came to an end early Monday. The extension comes as university students return to campus.
We also want to make sure, too, that they're safe. That their needs are met on campus, whether it's the safety and security of the campus through the special constables, or it's very simple things like hot water, which is given to them through the engineers.
Fans of ketchup on their mac and cheese will now get their fix from two separate publicly traded businesses. Kraft Heinz is the latest mega food business to split 10 years after they joined in a massive merger. The two companies do not yet have names. One of them will involve the brands Heinz, Philadelphia cream cheese, and Kraft mac and cheese. Oscar Mayer, Kraft Singles and Lunchables, will be part of another company which will focus on grocery items. Kraft Heinz says the split will, quote, unlock the potential of each brand to drive better performance and the creation of long-term shareholder value. Canada's main stock index finished higher as gains in basic materials offset broader losses. In Toronto, the TSX gained 51 points. In New York, the Dow fell 249, the Nasdaq fell 176. The Canadian dollar dropped a quarter cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $76 an ounce and oil added $1.58 a barrel. Are our children safe at school? Coming up, the biggest threat facing almost 3/4 of all teens.
Mainly clear conditions overnight. Watch for a bit of fog. Lots of sunshine to kick off the day tomorrow and a hot one. Thank you so much to Denise Hamlin for sending this photo in. A beautiful bird's eye view of the International Bridge. She was actually the pilot who took this photo. Sunshine in the forecast to start tomorrow, but the chance of rain moving in as a cold front approaches the region. We'll take a look at some cool air moving in on its heels.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
The weather today, absolutely gorgeous for back to school. So much excitement in the air. Julie joins me again for what we can expect for the rest of the week. Julie.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. In terms of our forecast, as we head into tomorrow, it's going to be a warm one in the morning and hot in the afternoon. Now, we did have a few pop-up scattered showers this afternoon in Essex County and some isolated thunderstorms bubbling up, but things will remain quiet through the evening. But that put the brakes on our temperature just a bit this afternoon. 26 degrees our high, 12 degrees our low. Comparing that with what's normal for this time of year, we're close. So you can see the light showers that developed late this afternoon, most of that quickly falling apart. Skies will be clear overnight and we're not expecting any active weather. I am tracking a cold front though that will be arriving to the area as we head into tomorrow evening. So as we take a larger look at North America and the satellite radar, you can see some rainfall off to the northwest, northern Ontario. This is associated with an area of low pressure and a cold front that will slowly start to approach tomorrow. Late afternoon into the evening, we'll start to see the cloud cover advance. The winds will also be picking up tomorrow out of the southwest. Winds will be gusting upwards of 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. So we'll track that cold front as it starts to come in as we head into the late afternoon evening. The frontal boundary with scattered showers and thunderstorms will continue to develop. And then the risk of rain moving into the area as we head into tomorrow night, through the overnight and into the morning. Some cooler temperatures will follow and temperatures are expected to drop off as we head into Thursday, Friday. So let's go out 36 hours together. This is the cold front coming in, so the scattered showers and thunderstorms developing. That main rain will come late Wednesday through the overnight. Most of that moisture should be out of the area as we head into Thursday morning. So rain's expected, about 10 to 15 millimeters of rainfall. Thursday morning, as you head out the door, we could see a few scattered showers linger, but the trend will be to clear us back out as we head into Thursday afternoon. What you'll notice, though, is the temperatures will start to feel quite cool once again. So another push of colder air coming in, especially those overnight lows dropping off. Daytime highs as we head over the next to 7 will average close to where we should be as we head towards the extended forecast. So overnight tonight, we drop down between about 14 and 15 degrees across Essex County. Your Wednesday high coming in at 27, feeling like a 30, and the winds picking up out of the southwest, 30 with gusts to 60. Our Siles heating and cooling forecast heading into Thursday, chance of morning showers. Again, the main rain will come Wednesday night into Thursday morning, 20 degrees. It'll be 20 with a 40% chance of scattered showers on Friday, although I don't expect we'll see a whole lot in the way of rain. Again, the main rain will come tomorrow night into early Thursday. The weekend setting up to be a good one. A mix of sun and clouds Saturday, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday, and daytime highs, as I mentioned, close to where we should be, 23 to 24 degrees. So some cooler air on the move, but tomorrow expect hot temperatures in advance of the cold front.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
The provincial government is planning to expand coverage for RSV protection. As Pauline Chan reports, everyone over the age of 75 will now have access.
Hospitals filling up.
Respiratory syncytial virus is so common that most children will have at least one infection before the age of 2, but it's also dangerous for older Canadians.
Ontario Public Health is going to cover the RSV vaccine for any Ontario resident over 75, in addition to those smaller, higher-risk populations.
Those would include the immunocompromised, First Nations, pregnant people, infants, and those over 60 who live in long-term care. In Canada, there are currently 3 vaccines available for adults over age 60. They are Arexvy, Abrysvo, and a new mRNA vaccine called Mresvia.
Arexvy is adjuvanted, means it has an extra additive to the vaccine to propel your immune system. Particularly important in older patients. Abrysvo doesn't have an adjuvant. The other third vaccine is made by Moderna, so it's an mRNA platform, a different technology. Approved by Health Canada, not readily available.
The government has not yet announced which vaccine will be covered or whether they might be available through pharmacies. Dr. Christine Palme says the effects of RSV can be so serious that an independent senior can often experience life-altering circumstances after, like being forced into long-term care.
The reality is not returning to your home, so you've entered in one state, but you leave in a completely different state, is 8%, and that's harrowing to me that you have a vaccine-preventable disease.
RSV season usually starts at the beginning of fall, and Palme says even people who aren't covered may want to pay for the $350 shot out of pocket or through their own health benefits to be protected. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
As kids head back to school, a new report is sounding the alarm that risks to their well-being are on the rise. The Raising Canada report says more than 70% of our kids between 12 and 17 experienced bullying in the last year. As well, more than 13% were living in poverty by the end of 2024, the highest level the country has seen since 2017. Additionally, while 71% of teachers report acting to prevent bullying, only 25% of students feel supported by teachers at school. Other threats to youth outlined in the report include childhood mistreatment, vaccine-preventable illnesses, racism, and climate change. Once a top voice for Canadian workers, the NDP is now seeing that support slip away. Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, what's behind the shifting political tide? There was a time when the NDP was seen as the loudest champion for Canadian workers, but their support has now shifted to other parties. CTV's Jeremy Chiron on where it's gone and what it means for the New Democrats as Parliament resumes and gets back to business in just a couple of weeks.
It was clear months ago on the campaign trail. The biggest political battleground isn't in Ottawa, but in warehouses and factories around the country.
Support of the average working Canadian family is definitely up for grabs.
The support of union workers, once strongly held by the NDP, has shifted. An election collapse for the New Democrats, including in union-heavy ridings, means the party currently without a leader has to change its approach to win back that support, says former party leader Tom Mulcair.
The NDP has to understand that at its very base, you had the labor movement. And they've been taking that for granted, figuring that organized labor would just stay with them.
But they didn't, and both the Liberals and the Conservatives are looking to keep what they took from the NDP.
Conservatives increasingly have realized how to speak to these voters better.
Former communications director to Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, Ben Woodfenden, believes the Conservative Party has connected best with working-class voters.
I think the Conservatives have a real opening here to kind of really solidify their place with these working-class voters and show that they are the party that has workers' interests.
Well, the Liberal Party is trying to make that pitch too.
I think it's about understanding how the labor movement has changed as well.
Though the government's intervention in countless work stoppages, Air Canada being the latest, has earned them criticism from some public sector unions, something this strategist says they'll have to face.
It's really about being honest and creating those relationships that maybe weathered under Justin Trudeau.
The latest data from Stats Canada shows there are more than 5 million unionized workers in the country, a number parties are keenly aware of as they look to solidify the union vote. Jeremy Sharon, CTV News, Ottawa.
Experts are predicting the decrease in international travel to the U.S. could continue beyond this summer.
There's so many things that are going on in the U.S., I think, right now that make people a little bit nervous. You know, you see the president taking over the police force in Washington, D.C. and saying that the nation's capital is not safe. You see immigration raids all across the United States. I think the message some Canadians are getting and some people around the world is that they're just not welcome and they don't feel safe.
According to Stats Canada, more U.S. residents entered Canada in June and July than Canadians making the trip south of the border. Experts are blaming the decrease in Canadians heading to the U.S. on President Donald Trump's policies, including tariffs, immigration crackdowns, and calls to annex Canada. So fewer Tigers fans and more Jays fans, and longtime Blue Jays broadcaster Joe Siddall is loving every minute of it. The Windsor native says the energy inside Rogers Centre hasn't felt this electric in nearly a decade as Toronto makes a serious push for the American League pennant.
What the Blue Jays are doing, we're, everybody's kind of not necessarily coming out of the woodwork a little bit, but, being from Windsor, I have a lot of family and friends, and they're mostly Tiger fans. So they're kind of like slowly following the Blue Jays a little bit more, and that's a lot of fun too. But yeah, it's just been fun for an entire country, and that's what a lot of these players here, they certainly feel it. And so I go back to the Jose Bautista bat flip and all of that. I mean, that was a long, long time ago. I remember it vividly, being in the radio booth with Jerry Howarth for that one. But this place was electric, and this country was electric. So hopefully, and I don't doubt it one bit, that when the Blue Jays get to October baseball, it's going to be the same all over again.
Can't wait. Okay, do you have an idea for a story? We want to hear from you. Text us at 10400 or send photos and videos of news happening.
X marks the spot where it all began. 89X is back. Windsor's alternative. 89X.
This is your CTV Windsor Our Community Calendar. The Hospice Savor the Wine Tour is back. Sunday, September the 28th. Enjoy a day of touring and tastings at local wineries, followed by dinner at the Chichero Club. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kettner. And Melanie, aside from the busing situation, how did students feel about their first day back?
Well, the kids we spoke with, some were nervous entering their grade 9 year or heading to a new school, while others were looking forward to learning and seeing their friends.
I'm ready to learn, see my friends again.
Seeing my friends again.
You're scared?
Yeah.
Why are you scared?
Because it's like my first day here.
I'm not really excited because I don't want to go to school.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so excited to see all my friends.
New chapter in my life. Getting to meet new people.
Everyone reuniting from summer. I don't know, everyone's been away. So it's just nice to all get back together again.
We've got more back to school coverage online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we've also got a story online, Melanie, about a crash in Lakeshore.
Yes, and now a 59-year-old Windsor man is facing impaired driving charges. OPP responded to County Road 42 near County Road 27 on Wednesday. Police say a vehicle left the roadway, rolled several times, and attempted to drive away, striking another vehicle that had stopped to help. The driver was arrested, their license was suspended, and vehicle impounded. You can see more crash stories on our website. And in our social spotlight, humans aren't the only ones who get excited seeing themselves on TV. Good evening. Dougie, the sheepadoodle, looks thrilled to see himself on Julie's dog walking forecast for London. It seems like he was really enjoying those few seconds of fame, Stephanie.
So adorable. It is always exciting to see yourself for the very first time, but I have a feeling he's extremely excited to go back to the dog park and tell all of his buddies about it.
For sure. What a moment for him.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. And that's what's happening now. A forgotten relic, once tossed in the trash, now it's a hog collector's item, fetching hundreds, even thousands. Details when we return.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor, Essex.
Only on Windsor, Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
Julie joins us one last time for a final look at the weather. Julie.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. Our Siles heating and cooling forecast for tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. It'll be a beautiful day. We will see increasing amounts of cloud cover in the afternoon and gusty winds picking up in advance of a cold front. Chance of nighttime rainfall moving in. We will have rain overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning, and there's the potential for about 10 to 15 millimeters. A cool down coming Thursday. We'll have some morning showers, but breaking out in the afternoon, and the chance of showers lingering on Friday as another cold front moves through the area. A cooler weekend setting up, but we're back into a mix of sun and clouds Saturday and Sunday with daytime highs between 20 and 21 degrees. Have a great evening. Stephanie, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Now, Ricardo is off for this week. Michelle Molesky is filling in, giving us an update of what we can expect tonight at 11. But all of today, it's been all talk about back to school.
Yeah, not a big surprise there. There is plenty to talk about at back to school time. Tonight, we're going to bring details about a potential labor dispute at all of Ontario's colleges. Plus, we're going to check in on the negotiations between Unifor and a local school bus operator. And to finish all this on a positive note, we also have details tonight about a Canadian added to the cast at Saturday Night Live, which is very, very exciting, Stephanie.
I can't wait to hear about that.
I know. It's exciting, exciting times. Elbows up at SNL.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so these days you can't get far without hearing about the latest, of course, developments in artificial intelligence. In the digital age, technology is, as we know, constantly evolving, which might be why some are going back to the basics. CTV's John Venevali-Rao tells us about a nostalgic revival.
For some, it's the love of that vintage sound. Others, the simplicity of it all. A relic that used to be tossed in the trash, instead being treasured.
It's got this beautiful kind of click, clack, clack, and it's just so wonderful to hear that.
Chris Edmondson runs an actual typewriter shop, what in the 21st century may seem surprising.
They're, in a way, industrial art.
He says business has never been better.
When we first started this, we would sort of be excited and happy to sell maybe one every couple weeks. Come in and pick up your typewriter.
But some weeks, he says he can now sell between 5 to 10 machines, with customers paying hundreds, even thousands of dollars for them.
This sort of stuff is vintage.
Edmondson bought his first typewriter as a hobby, but 5 years ago, quit his job in IT to sell and repair them full-time. He says some prefer them over computers. No pop-ups, no distractions, just ink and your imagination.
It's become a therapy for a lot of people who haven't been able to find a way to disconnect from this crazy world that we live in and just simply be with their thoughts and write them on paper.
I love you. Taylor Swift tapped into the trend, typing on a vintage machine in her music video for Fortnite, generating interest among the younger set. And Tom Hanks is a huge typewriter enthusiast, helping to boost their popularity.
What's here?
Let me show you.
Martin Howard brought us to the basement of his Toronto home.
Here are some of my beauties.
To show us his personal collection.
They're all from the 1880s and 1890s.
For more than 30 years, he's researched and restored some of the world's earliest typewriters. He has 75 of them, the biggest such collection in the country.
I found my first typewriter in a junk shop in Aurora, and it was a Calligraph 2 from 1886, and my course was set.
Howard pleased to see the old machines get renewed interest from the likes of Swift.
It makes it hip is what it does. It makes it really hip, and it allows people to consider buying them.
Machines once muted, again making noise and tapping out a new chapter. John Venevalley-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
I'm not going to lie, if I was able to get my hands on one of these, I would love to keep it in my house. And I know you would because, I mean, you do have some personal experience.
I do. In grade 9, I know I'm totally dating myself here, but in grade 9, I had a course. It was typewriter, and that's how you learned how to type on a typewriter. So I love that. I would love to have one of those. It's so satisfying doing the bar over. It's great. Love
I don't think going back to the basics is a bad thing at all.
I agree with you entirely.
Okay, before we go tonight, we want to invite you to stop by our first ever AM 800 Fright Night. We are hosting 2 free haunted houses this Friday, September 12th at Scare House, Windsor.
All you need to do is bring a canned food or a cash donation and register at am800cklw.com. You might be able to recognize some on-air personalities from CTV Windsor.
Okay, it's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
On behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca. I'll be back with your only late local newscast tonight at 11.
Good night.